Hello, welcome to another cue breakdown. Today we're looking at a sort of quirky adventure cue. Quite a lot of orchestral elements in here, but a couple of synths and damage pads you may recognise. The thing to listen out for in this is there's basically 4 8-bar sections, but look for different instruments being introduced just before the beginning of another section. You should be able to hear that, and I'll flick through. So let's have a listen to it, and then I'll break down how I made it. Okay, there we go. So, Quirky Adventure cue, and all of it is pretty much driven by these Albion 1 synths, which keep the melody all the way through. It's not Albion 1 at all, it's Contemporary Drama Toolkit synth pads. Okay, my mistake, but there you go. That is the sound that goes through the entire track. It breaks down. This is sort of the B section that comes in here. And that's just outlining some of the chord top notes. Okay, along with that now. Was this Albion? Ah, this one was Albion. There you go. Spiccato strings. They accompany. Let's just solo them for a sec. So by doing this, it saves splitting out everything into violin, viola, cello, bass. If you're doing this sort of spiccato effects, actually something like Abbey Road 1 works really well as an ensemble patch. You get a bit, and then in the B section we drop out the lower notes, but you'll notice that's because we have basses come in at that point. So as this finishes, so we've got the BBCSO basses supporting now that string line. They also continue when this line comes back, even though we've got the lower in, so we're building up layers as we go. The one sitting in between that is the viola pizzicato, and that is doing this. So picking out the on beats all together, we get this. And at this point they're pretty much following or doing the same as the basses. Okay, onto flutes. So here, this is BBC SO, and they are picking out the melody. So following those synth pads, so it almost gives the flutes a sort of ethereal, sort of spacey feel because they are doubled with those synth pads. They pretty much again follow the melody all the way through, and this is one of the first instruments that introduces itself halfway through a phrase. So the clarinets here only the second half of the phrase, but when you combine them with the flutes, let's lead into that a bit. Actually, I suppose the bassoons also introduce themselves before the clarinets as well, don't they? So if we look at that start section. So after this initial, we have the bassoons doing their rundowns. That's quite a nice technique to use with the bassoons, that sort of running up and down scales. We've got, well, the tuba is, this is the obvious one that you hear introduce itself before it comes in. I could have started it at the beginning of that 8-bar phrase, but to get people used to the sound of the tuba, you bring it in a little bit before. So you get this effect. Before it really gets to work. And again, because we're building up the layers through here, sort of working with the bassoon. There you go, that's tuba. Trumpet, so again, it's introducing itself before we get to its main business. Let's hear it in context, it's probably better for this. Listen out for the trumpet coming in. So it's accenting. Accenting the different beats. Now we're on to a bit of tune percussion in the Glock. So you notice there's a few bits at the beginning, and again, building up as we go. It's even got its own, little starring role here. This sort of typical little run. Along with the pizzicato. Then we're on to percussion. There's Abbey Road 1 piccolo snare in here, just picking out some beats. Again, it gets busier towards the end. There's a tambourine ticking along in the background. So some rolls and some hits. Again, building in intensity as we go along. Then there's 2 damage patches, one which comes in right from the beginning, with that nice stereo effect. And you don't really notice it that much in context. And then the mids patch, this is, it's sort of like adding to the snare roll that you might expect to hear. But again, so you probably hear it on this one here. Okay, in terms of EQs, the piano has a little bit. Most of these I think are fine. The trumpet I rolled off the low end to make sure it didn't interfere with some of the lower ends of like the bassoon, clarinet, tuba. Everything else I think, oh no, yeah, it did roll some of the low end off that little effect at the end there. And in terms of mastering, it is literally the transparent mastering assistant that has gone over the whole piece to bring it up to -1. There you go. Like and subscribe, always appreciated if you find this useful, and you'll find out when the next one comes up if you turn the notifications on as well. I'll play it again as an outro. You'll probably be able to hear lots more parts now, and I'll again flick through and click on the different MIDI regions as we go. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye for now.